Hello everybody, this is video 6 on disassembling and reassembling your Crosman 1077 CO2 air rifle. When we left off, I was just putting the hammer in, and this is my modified hammer. I have 4.5 grams of extra weight on there, so when it's cocked back and when it hits the valve assembly pin, it hits it harder. So that means more CO2 goes through, more feet per second. All right, that being said, now when you get the valve assembly CO2 transfer tube and your compression tube with the CO2 piercing assembly in it, which I showed you how to change a face seal on and modify that ring to take the screen out in previous videos. Now, when you put the valve assembly train back in and you're attaching it, you have to be careful to make sure that, if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it really well, but there's a 45-degree angle here. That 45-degree angle has to be perpendicular. It's got to be vertical. It's got to be like that. That way, when you put your magazine in, it receives your magazine correctly and it blows the CO2 through correctly. All right, we're there. I oiled. Now we're going to put the trigger assembly in here. And it goes in relatively easily. Oh, and also the safety comes out of this side. It doesn't come out the other side. If you press it in the other side, you'll break it. That's the way the safety goes in. All right, now we got the trigger assembly in there, except for the trigger spring. Now we got the trigger spring goes on that little knobby right on there, right there. And then you got to try to push it up and get it behind that little like shelf right there. And once you do, it stays in place relatively easily. Once you do get it. Okay, I got it in place. I always hold this in place, and I always make sure that it's up towards the top of this here, so it's not gonna spring down on me. Now, the same as when you take it apart, you're holding down on here and you're pressing up on the trigger to try to hold the trigger in place. Now, we already have all of our springs, or all of our screws in there, and you gotta try to get it all at once. Sometimes you gotta restart it. Sometimes you keep doing it, and it won't go in place. Sometimes it won't go in place because of this not being in the correct position. And it wasn't. Okay, let's try it again. And once you get it to pop into place, you'll tell. You'll be like, oh, there it goes. Well, I'm gonna try to get the screws out of the holes. I think that's what's stopping me. One more time here. I think I'm having problems here with the barrel clamp. I'm gonna take the tape out of there. That's exactly what's happening. The valve assembly is twisting and it's not staying in the correct position. And when you go to put it back in, it's stopping it from going back together. try it again. And we got it. Jiminy Cricket. All right, what I do once I get it to that point is I put a screw in, and you gotta test it before you start putting all the rest of the screws in. Otherwise, you gotta take it all back apart again. It's not very fun. This is where you gotta really be careful. Don't tighten these too tight with a screwdriver that's this big, because you will ruin it. All right, then I take it and I test the function of the safety. Okay, safety's on, safety's off. The firing mechanism is working just fine. Got to check the barrel. The barrel release works just fine. So at this point, we are finished, folks. We got it back together. And all that remains now is just putting the remainder of the screws in, putting it back in the stock, putting 3 screws on it, sighting it in if you have to, getting it to 0. And that's all we got for you on these videos. If you need any help, I'm at Crosman 1077 Connection, new and used parts on eBay. I have a ton of parts, great prices. Come see me. Thank you very much.